And for insights into the swearing in of the first female president of Tanzania is African Affairs Analyst Ademola Oshodi, who joins us via Skype. Good to have you join us, Ademola Oshodi. Samia Suluhu Hassan has now been sworn in as the president of Tanzania in a historic moment arising from a great tragedy. Can we get your thoughts on this?
Thank you for having me. Yes, it is tragic for an elected leader to die in office. If the preferred choice is for the electorate to either vote the person out or for his term or her term to expire. But the most important thing right now is the continuity of the political process in Tanzania. And so far, so good. It looks like a smooth transition from one individual to another. This is very good for the stability of Tanzania, East Africa, and Africa in general.
Absolutely. But there are fears about her ability to build her own political base because of allies of the late President Magufuli, who many people believe that or are worried that might want to steer his agenda on, even while she is the one in office.
Oh, that's true. That is apparent. He won the mandate. She's just is a vice presidential candidate. So we usually vote for the main person on the ballot, the presidential candidate. So she has to build her own base. She has to tread carefully. She has to also ensure that she finds confidence. They find confidence in her in the party. The Chama Cha Napindeza Party, as CCM as they call it, is the longest serving party in Africa, longest serving party in power in Africa. I think second is the ANC in South Africa. So they've been there forever, since 1961. At one stage even, they were the only legally approved party in Tanzania. So she has to tread carefully. There's a lot of history there, and she's a female Muslim for mainly a Christian country. And she's from the minority Zanzibar island, which is like, the autonomous part of Tanzania. So it's just pure politics. She has to understand the situation and ensure that she meets the interests of the powers that put her there, that she met there, and also ensure that the electorate is confident enough to have her back at 2025 if she decides to run for president by herself.
Most of these allies are said to be in intelligence, and intelligence is a very key arm of government or agency of government. Do you see that becoming a serious or posing a serious challenge to her ability to deliver in this office?
It's definitely not going to make it easy for her. She definitely has to work with whoever and however the structure she meets there. And I want to believe that she's smart enough to do that. She's been around for a while. She's been in politics and administration for many decades. She's studied in Tanzania and studied abroad. So she's exposed. It would be rather naive of her to take on whoever or whatever structure she meets there. And I think she can appeal to the gender-based politics, the fact that she's a female, one of the rare female heads of states in Africa. She can also appeal to the international community for issues if she's been hounded or discriminated against. But ultimately, it's the Tanzanian people and the powers that she meets there that will ensure her survival and her success. Tanzania is very pivotal in East Africa. They have a huge tourism industry. They're dealing with COVID. The former president was a big COVID denier. And they're also, very close to Kenya. And whatever happens in Kenya affects them one way or the other. Not drastically, but at least they have to tread carefully with that. Tanzania has been a very stabilizing force in East Africa. You can talk about Julius Nyerere, that was there, one of the best leaders of Africa, people say, first leader of Tanzania. He put in place good policies and mainly stability for the country. So Tanzania is generally been a stable country, and we hope that her being taking the helm of the affairs will continue that way. And that's probably the most important thing for
Absolutely.
Tanzanians and for Africa.
And there have been no signs of instability, especially when you look at the smooth transition of power. But let's also look at the fact that she's also a very daring person. We saw that when she visited the opposition leader, rather, Tundu Lissu, in hospital in Kenya, when after an assassination attempt. Do you think that that also speaks for our ability to work with all sides and across the aisle?
I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's a big deal. Even if there's a coup, even if she was a coup, if she brought in a military rule, if she's head of a military rule, a successful coup, they tend to meet people, the opposition, civil society, press. Everybody wants support in the initial basis. Everybody wants sympathy. Everybody wants a stable transition to a new power. So it's expected for her to meet with the opposition or whoever. But let's hope and see how that transpires as the weeks and months and years go by. It is politics. The opposition want to take power. They've never had power, so it's important that she understands the situation, and she meets everybody: civil society, international bodies, neighboring leaders of around East Africa, and ensure that there's a smooth transition. This is essential, especially with the COVID that has devastated the economy of Africa and many parts of the world. We don't want a crisis whereby
sorry to cut in. Sorry to cut in because you took the COVID pandemic right out of my mouth, because many people now believe that is one of the biggest challenges that she might have to face, seeing that late President Magufuli never really believed in the fact that there is COVID-19. He was quite skeptical, and people are now wondering what path she might take in terms of handling the COVID-19 pandemic in that country. Where do you see her steering the wheel in handling the COVID-19 pandemic?
So far, she's taken a rather cautious approach. She still insists that any COVID vaccine has to be tested and approved by the Tanzania Medical Board, which is rather unusual because this has been approved by the renowned Western bodies. So I don't know why, sorry to say this, a poor African country would see that they're unique in this situation. It's most important to save lives and to get the economy running. So she's taking a cautious approach. I want to believe she's also looking behind her back and seeing the supporters of the late president and ensuring she doesn't totally go against his policies and his ideals. So, but eventually, I believe that the COVID plan will take place and move forward in Tanzania, and there will be progress from where where the last president left off.
Talking about where the last president left off, he was a very strong ally of President Uhuru Kenyatta, President of Kenya, in terms of development in East Africa. You talked about how Tanzania is pivotal in East Africa. Do you see her ability to continue in that light?
I definitely do. The both countries need each other. They're both very much in the tourism trade. That is one of their main income. They need, I think Tanzania, is the poor part. Is a poor part of East Africa compared to Kenya, though it's very stable. Both countries have, both have similar historical background. I mean, Tanzania was a German colony before it was taken over by the British. Kenya is British. They speak English there, though Swahili is spoken in both countries. So they need each other. And I'm pretty sure one of the first visitors or visits you will make is to President Kenyatta of Kenya to ensure that things still continue the way they are. Treaties, security agreements, and also trade with the East African trade bloc. So, and also, fighting against security with the Al-Shabaab in that region. it's very important that they keep a close relationship, Kenya and Tanzania, regardless of who is leader of both countries.
It's her first day in office. We'll see how she carries on as the president of Tanzania. African Affairs Analyst Ademola Oshodi, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.